All right, we've got some concepts that have been put to paper, which is super exciting. Um, so let's talk about a little bit of some mechanical aspects of things. Um, I know I sent you guys the link for the Runner Hub banned, aka restricted quality list and that kind of stuff. Um,
Oh wait, where's that one? I didn't find it.
it's in the Skype chat.
You sent this to the character creation rules, but I see no band traits here.
There's a
Uh,
link to the band traits on it.
You scroll down and then there's band traits, and then you have to scroll down further and it passes the errata, and there's a short list of band traits. You have to dig for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's my
all right.
fault for not supplying an appropriate link. Um, but we were just talking about in debt, and dependent upon how far in debt you wanted to go, I could be okay with it. But 9 times out of 10, when people take that quality, they take it at the maximum level to get all of the power gamery goodness out of it, and then never
Don't-
expect to have
I
it come
don't
back to
w-
haunt them.
I don't want that much money because the more in debt it is, the like crazier it is. And my character wouldn't be that hard in debt because she's been paying it for. So I'm not planning on taking it at the hardest level. I feel like it can add an interesting dynamic that works into my character concept. Because like I've gone to college but didn't finish. Like shouldn't my character have bills to pay? So
Yeah,
like it kind of
yeah.
and like she's been living it hot until now. So like the money's kind of like the drive for her. So she needs to get this money. And maybe the debt isn't like a continual debt, but is like the money I need in order to
So
finish.
let me ask you this: who are you indebted to?
It would probably be a bank or some kind of loan service.
Yeah, because if
I
you
don't know
still
what-
are the corporate sin, then yeah.
Yeah, I have a limited corporate sin, so like I know getting a corporate sin requires like I'm probably if I've got a corporate sin, I belong to a corp, right? That's the
More or
corporate sins
less,
are
yeah.
specifically tied to a corp, so it'd
Yeah.
probably be to my corp. So I'd lose my corporate sin if I didn't pay dues, right?
Man, that's 30 karma to buy that off.
Yeah,
A lot of karma.
yeah. Like I'm kind of weaving into like my character is in deep. She needs to make a lot of money right now.
Okay. Um,
So like dude,
yeah,
okay
as
with
long
that?
as long as you don't go super crazy with it, I'm okay with it because I have
Okay.
I
Yeah, I'm
have
not
an
doing it.
idea for complications.
My character doesn't need a ton of money in the bank. Like I'm gonna try and measure it because if my character starts off with like $40,000 just sitting around or like a ton of gear, it's like, I might use it to like make a giant drug supply so that like I can, because like that can be my access to it, but I don't want to use it to like have a bunch of everything.
On that note, we will also get into that you will probably need a contact to easily buy you to like be the guy that works behind the counter that you get your stash from that you then give
Yep.
out to the rest of the team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I couldn't just be that person who works at the pharmacy.
Because then you're
Considering
an
that I am a
NPC.
You're right. I am an NPC. Fuck. Yeah, I just have a contact.
Like if you have like some decent charisma and some negotiation skill and you can like routinely buy some of this stuff, like then we
well,
can
I
kind of
mean,
work.
my plan was to just actually just steal it from the campus because I have access to the medicine cabinet.
I mean, we
'cause I'm
could
a student.
totally
Because
find some other.
because I'm a chem student who's learning how to use drugs for medical
Okay.
purposes.
Which
So I
we,
figured I'd just like
we can
just
then
palm
talk
it.
about what you have available to you because I find it hard to believe that Kamikaze has any kind of medical applications.
It not necessarily. You're right. I wouldn't get all my drugs probably from there, but I could maybe brew them. Like what is Kamikaze? It's a combat simulator, right? And I'm planning on working for I don't know. The character concept is the original character concept is like someone who's going to school to become a dock wagon person. So like they would have experience or like know how to use combat drugs, right? Because
It depends upon like, are you?
Kamikaze is an extreme case and probably not, right?
Yeah,
But
we could probably
know.
come up with a list of things you might have available to you in some way, and I will make sure to make your life hell.
okay. I like the bullets and bandages supplement.
We'll come up with a list off camera because there are so many drugs.
There are, and we will go over it.
Okay.
Consider it pinned.
Does does anybody else have any mechanical things that they want to talk or ask about?
I have one,
I
yeah.
can
No.
drill your head in about the
Uh,
Matrix, but I'd rather read it on my own.
Since I have a synthetic hand
Hmm.
and it gives me a -25 essence, is that just a full point for my magic score, right?
Yes. However,
Okay,
that
just
also means that you have .75 that you can fill with other wonderful transhuman goodies.
okay, cool, cool. That's pretty much the only thing.
Okay. Other people had mechanical things. There was talk a little bit of the Matrix. Um, yeah, we'll deal with that when we have some time, just because the Matrix is full of all kinds of wonderful things.
Matrix is
So
Matrix.
much, dude. I'm gonna just like go to sleep reading the Data Trails book tonight.
Um, Other questions, mechanics wise.
I did have a question about the act. Since if I'm assuming we're using Chummer, correct?
Chummer or Hero Lab.
Okay, and then we decided on sum to 10, but what's the level where we start at?
It's an established runner priority. Um, the
Oh,
the street level rules are not balanced. Um, they handicap non-special attribute focused characters both by reducing the availability that you have and the money that you have in order to purchase things.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah, when I open up Chummer, I have options: standard, prime runner, street level, and street scum.
so you're gonna look for standard, and then you should be able to
Okay.
change the method to sum to 10.
Yeah. So it says maximum availability 12, sum to 10 is 10.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. If nobody has immediate uh, things, let's make a little bit more space. As there's a sock puppet sea serpent down here.
let's see. Oh, there it is. Hey there. Look at you.
Hey, it's got scales and everything.
That is very impressive.
All right.
Somebody took time.
Tons more space now.
Yay!
One of the things I did with the other group was, like, we're all obviously going to have some context that we know. I'm going to give you guys a fixer because that's kind of how you guys were brought together for your first group. Or not your first group, I'm sorry, your first run. I will think a little bit and see if I come up with a good one for that. Did you guys have any ideas for the context that your characters would have, or potentially context that you guys as a group would like to run into later? Because that's what you.
I might have some kind of street doc or something. You know who I got my hand from. But that's really the only one I can think of right now off the top of my head.
Sure. You guys can break it up into a little list on the page of like contacts you guys want to have at start and contacts you guys can run across later. Because contacts are awesome and they can do a lot of things for you. We're going to be using the mission simplified rules, where it is a simple roll most times of 2 times their connection plus their loyalty value as a dice pool. Because honestly, I can't be asked to come up with character sheets and stats for these guys. It's
Yeah,
way too much.
especially when we headshot them in the face.
I mean, they're your friends, so if you want to start murdering your own friends, that's up to you.
Yeah, no thanks.
Please no.
Yeah. But
Oh, sorry, I kind of like zoomed out. I thought you were talking about like monks,
no,
like mooks, like mooks.
no. Don't worry, my mooks are very competent usually.
Okay.
Um,
But yeah, no, most contacts only have like loyalty and
Loyalty
connection,
and
right?
connection. The
Right. Yeah, they don't.
the book talks about using like their charisma and negotiation to do stuff, and it's like that's way too much work to try and juggle so many different character sheets. So it's connection, loyalty, done. Have a nice day.
how I've seen it in the modules done is they usually just blank out any of their physical stats and then just like have their mental stats just like as a 3, 4, 5, 3 or whatever with a couple of relevant skills. That way, you just be like, this guy's actually really talkative. He's got something something, so that like you can kind of make your NPCs have higher or lower rolls. But obviously, you can just spitball whatever you think is apparent.
Yeah. And certain people will have bonus dice for things that are totally within their wheelhouse. Like your street doc would have a bonus couple of dice to try and find, a med kit on the fly or some drugs or maybe even some low grade cyberware. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so is there anything in the line of contacts that you guys wanted to talk about or
No.
So character gen, right? And you looking
either
at
or?
the
You guys had people in mind that you wanted to have as like character generation contacts, or people you wanted to show up later, because like who knows when you run into a guy that is a sleazy car salesman that speaks 5 different languages and you know will do you a favor by taking that car you stole off your hands without telling anybody about it, without giving you any money for it.
So, like in this instance, you would ask, we would want to say we want to run into a sleazy car salesman.
Yeah, you could write down Big Bob. Um, in
Are you like asking for like lore characters that we would run into? Like, I want to
No.
run into Damian Knight. Like, I don't really know how to answer this question. Like,
So Big Bob is a specific contact that a friend of mine came up with, and that I have used on numerous occasions to be the sleazy car salesman.
Sounds good. He's got a bunch of big lots.
Yeah, it's Big Bob's Big World of Used Autos.
Sounds great.
Imagine white
I wanna
suits,
run- I
Southern
wanna-
gentlemen.
I want to run into Big Bob.
Yeah, he probably
Yeah.
will be a little bit different because this might be large Leroy because he's in Germany,
I'm not checking.
or Huge Hans. Um, there are all kinds of interesting things you can do with contacts, beyond just simple like item acquisition. Sometimes it could be things like information. You know, everybody loves to crawl into a bar and at the bottom of a bottle and just whine about their problems to a bartender. Well, maybe that bartender overhears something a little interesting one night, and maybe that happens to be relevant to what you guys are doing. Maybe you have a paralegal contact that you meet with for lunch and have discussions about law and that kind of stuff, contracts. Maybe.
I have one that I'll throw out there for another one, so I have 2 at least.
Yeah.
An old drinking buddy that runs like a scrapyard
There you go.
or a recycling plant.
That's totally a potentially useful thing.
Yeah.
I'm also a fan of the having a buddy who's a ghoul, because you never know when you need a body to disappear, and you don't know what big
that's a
That's a
very
really good
good idea.
I mean, shouldn't that contact be earned instead of just ran into? I would definitely like to run into undead.
They're not
like-
undead.
Okay, I would definitely like to run into human, metahuman, vampiric, virus infected.
There we go.
I-
The Humbas.
Yeah, the
HMHG.
hums. The hums. Herps.
It's it's one of those little like trigger words when people say undead or classes
Yeah.
or those other RPG things in our Shadowrun that we all love so much.
I get it. Is it again? It's more of a taboo in world rather than.
It doesn't exist. Like
Well,
when you are dead, you are dead. Have a nice day.
Right.
No,
I know there's no resurrection or zombies.
Yeah. There is arguments that go around about what is a zombie, because you could totally have a spirit possess a corpse and then it'll be just like a
Right, but then you're just like levitating its body. It's not
Yeah.
it's not a sanctioned zombie where it bites you and then like
and then you become a
spreads.
zombie.
And then
Good.
yeah, it's
That's an argument that I get into fairly often.
Yeah, I've read the entire sections about it in the character creation core book and the Howling Shadows core book.
Hmm.
I think that how Shadowrun does quote unquote infected is probably one of the coolest things in the setting.
I mean, if you were interested in becoming infected throughout the course of play, that might be a thing that happens.
I'm not opposed. I've had one of my favorite paladins get turned into an anti-paladin, and I have to say, it was probably one of the most fun things. And I didn't ask for it at all. I was just like, I was the perfect paladin character, like red cape, like we must march forth and announce that we are attacking the castle, and everyone's like, oh god, we were gonna sneak up, and I'm like, nope. Up we go. So like all the people in the house like hid in the back room, afraid of me. They're like, "Oh fuck, a paladin's coming to smite us!" Right? So instead of running into them one on one by just going in normally, we had to fight them all at once. Needless to say, I wasn't particularly popular.
Whoops.
But then I went from lawful good to lawful evil, and my party was like, "How do we turn him back?" They literally were like, "How do we remove curse?" And they like killed. I had been given a cursed lantern by this unwitting henchman. This guy stumbles into a bar, right? I'm sorry, I'm getting into little game stories.
Yep.
I want to tell this guy stumbles into a bar. Is like got an arrow through his chest, or he's like bleeding or whatever. He's like holding a lantern. He's like, no, and I'm like, first thing, like I cut off the dungeon. I'm like, lay on hands. I heal him, and he's like, he's alive. he like rolled for death, and like I saved the guy who was supposed to die. So he tells us all this information about this keep that was supposed to be given to us by someone else. Like we were supposed to find like a map or like a signia on his body, but I had to save him, and he pledges his life to me, right? So, but then the lantern he gives me it was like some paladin fortress that we ended up going to, but it got taken over by anti-paladins, and the lantern was it was the lantern of Greyhawk that banishes undead, but the anti-paladins had cursed me into undeath. So I got my hands on it and got turned into an anti-paladin, and all of a sudden all my friends realize, like, there's not like some big blast of energy and like, you know, a demon comes down and says, "You are an anti-paladin." It's just like, you're an anti-paladin now. Nobody knows, right? So I started acting all evil and like laughing at dead bodies with them, and they all get like really weirded out that all of a sudden my personality's changed. So they try to kill my henchman. They murder him, right? And I get him revived. And they murder him, and I get him revived. And every time they murder my henchman, right? I'm like, they always like frame it as some accident or some trap, right? Or some kind of like other person did it when I wasn't looking, I was fighting. They like stab him in the back. So he turns into this little Igor character that follows me around. Best little NPC follower ever. Funny as hell.
Now that we've gotten that out of our system.
Now that I got that out of my system.
Yeah.
So
I completely forgot what we were talking about. Does anybody remember?
Contacts.
And becoming undead in this setting.
Ah, yes. Certain things like becoming infected or sudden, unexplained recessive genetic expression surge are totally things that could potentially happen. Obviously, with some of those things, I won't just like, well, your character's infected and screwed now, so have a nice day. But if that is something you are at least tangentially interested in potentially exploring, maybe not Mr. Troll, because you've already had a horrible body-shattering event happen to you.
Let the lightning strike twice.
Make it worse. I mean, he could end up infected and all of a sudden be like a mutaqua or something. It's like, man, I used to hate metatypes and now I eat them. Delicious.
As long as I have some salt and ketchup.
Oh no.
Maybe a little bit of barbecue sauce.
Gargoyles are horrifying.
So, and then one of the other mechanics that I like to steal from the Shadowrun missions is the working for the man or working for the people, where up to I think it's like up to 5 or up to 10, something like that. Or the run reward, you can exchange 2,000 new yen for a single karma or 1 karma for 2,000 new yen, so that you guys have a little bit more control over your character advancement, because certain archetypes are more hungry for one or the other.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, it kind of like allows us to get what we want out of a run.
and it also
Like-
lets you flavor, I'm giving this money to.
Right. So like I give this money to that girl I like, and suddenly
And-
you get karma.
You get karma for it, so that this way you're not penalized for the roleplay aspect of giving away a bunch of money.
That's I like it.
And just like I did with the other group, your first run is going to be a higher paying and higher karma reward than what you would have find on average. So this way you guys can kind of hit the ground running. And I probably won't tell you your fixer stats because I didn't tell them what Hernando's stats were.
Tremendo.
Hernando, he's from
Hernando.
South America, Central America. He has a big push
Nice.
broom mustache and he runs the Spilled Bean.
Nice.
Oh.
You like that?
Yes, I do.
So is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about tonight? I'm not sure if I really have anything else in particular to run into.
Well, we got our character gen concepts down of what we want to do with our character wise. Now it's just a matter of putting pen to paper. Once we get these done, we email them to you. How do you want us to get this information to you?
In the sidebar here, there is a character's thingamajig that there's like a bio and info button. If you can
Yes, there
upload
is.
your PDF to say Dropbox or Google Drive, and then put that link in there, so I can just click on the bio and info, copy that link, and have your character sheet in front of me. That would be great because it
Okay.
keeps me from having to ask you guys for them. I have them always available to me, and I don't have to ask questions.
That sounds good.
Usually, what I do when I'm running a game is I am of the 2-monitor variety.
Okay.
It's great if you guys have never tried it. My main monitor will have the table on it, and then my secondary monitor will have an internet tab that has the character sheets on it, and I can just click through them. Do. It's wonderful.
Everybody needs several monitors.
I mean, I'm kind of upset because the one monitor is a couple of inches smaller than the other monitor. It's
Oh, that's the worst.
it's kind
I'm
of the
waiting
worst.
for AR to come.
Right?
So we can just take your monitors everywhere. Screw it.
You get a monitor. You get a monitor.
Everybody
bro.
gets a monitor.
Then I guess if nobody has anything else they want to talk about, really anything at all, we can just kind of wrap up and
Okay.
see what
Okay.
happens.
All right.
Did anybody have a theme that they wanted to do their first on-camera run as? Like, what kind of run?
I don't know. I kind of wanted to do something infiltration based. You know,
Extraction.
it doesn't have to be necessary. You know what? Yeah, an extraction could be really cool. I think our team would have a lot of play for like getting somebody out of a place.
Which
Oh,
would
boy, we
also feed into the infiltration point too.
Right.
We got a black bag of pop star.
If it's a crystal skull, though, I'm not grabbing it.
I'll
Somebody wrote their left.
I think
that's
it'd be fun if it was like kidnapping. You know.
I tell you
Grab a
what, if you
person.
guys come up with a little bit more in-depth contact list that you're looking for, maybe this is how you meet one of them by kidnapping them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, usually when you meet new people, don't you get them as a kidnap? Why would we kidnap someone who's already? I mean, I guess we could kidnap somebody who we already know and do a favor for them that way.
Maybe. Who knows?
Well,
The Shadows is a deep and
okay.
mysterious place.
It's
Most
pretty
definitely.
weird. One thing.
Sure.
Technomancers, can they control drones or wait? You could,
So,
shit, that's them with
anybody-
the riggers.
Anybody can control drones.
Just need an RCC.
You don't necessarily technically need that because you could load autosofts straight onto the drone, or you could control them through your comlink, through your
This is true.
your skills.
Yeah, most people have a fly spy or like a floating drone to like me feed them and like just record their
To
YouTube
take
shows.
selfies of them all day.
Yeah. Yeah, most people just have like a small little camera drone that flies around with them all the time. So
So like really anybody can buy drones and make use of them in some way. If you want to do super fancy stuff, you would probably want an RCC, which will allow you to buy singular copies of the program and then just kind of
duplicate.
share them out on the Wi-Fi to all of your drones, rather than buying a copy for each or having to manually control each. In order to jump into the drone and like control it and feel as though it were your body, you need either a control rig or Technomancers can get a mind over machine echo for submersion that'll allow them to do it just naturally.
Okay, submersions.
Yes.
Oh, they initiate.
No, they submerge. It just happens to be
You know what I
mechanically
mean.
identical to initiation.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, they're kind
See,
of
this
almost
is-
wizards.
This is where like AIs and Technomancers differ a lot. Like Technomancers have a lot of very specific rules to themselves and how they do their Technomancery things, but they are basically identical to magic. So you don't have to learn a whole new set of how things work. You just need to learn different terminology. AIs have all kinds of other bullshit associated with them that are
Oh,
not
and they have sprites.
spirits.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be just like playing the mage I was playing earlier. So okay,
Yep. For the
Matrix.
Technomancer bullshit part of things, it is the mechanics are the same. You use compiling instead of summoning. You use registering instead of binding. You use software instead of spellcasting.
okay. Oh, hey, mind over machine's pretty good. If you waste 3 of your initiations, you could be a rigger.
You could.
You know, really late into the game.
Those initiations are great because you can just jump into other people's drones.
Yep. You just need marks on them, and you don't have to have a
Oh
giant piece
man,
of
you could
metal.
just be a
insert it.
drone.
Yeah.
Skin link, charge the drone.
I mean, to be fair, who doesn't want an RCC?
I mean, that's up to you guys.
You don't want invasive cranial surgery, really?
I mean, not really. I had an argument with one guy one time about why wouldn't like Sinless just sign up for free data jacks, and I'm like, because you're drilling a hole in my head.
Yeah.
Most people go for Troj, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
All of the wonders of DNI without drilling into
Hole
my
in your
head.
head. A literal hole in your head.
Oh.
Which is
All right.
dangerous. But yeah, no. If you guys don't have anything else that you want to talk about, I can wrap things up and we can you guys can get to playing around with Chummer. I will drop piles of information upon you.
Oh boy.
Sounds good.
Super excited.
Sounds like a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Are you guys hype?
Very
Yeah.
much so.
Really hype.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. So next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna see what kind of trouble you guys can get into.
Sweet.
All right. So I'm gonna wave goodbye to the 4 people in chat, including
Definitely
a little bit of
sounds
group
good.
1, and we will see you guys next week.
Cool.
Right.
Hey, yeah, chat.